Sup everybody? Hope all y'all are doing undeniably fan-freaking-tastic out there. It is I, Grand Poobah Booyah, James SelfStandard, and I welcome all of you back to another episode of Flaming Fiction. This is the series where I roast various pop cultural things, or whatever. But today, I feel inspired to roast Megman X. Got his mini poster hanging up on my door there. But, folks, when it comes down to Mega Man, like not just Mega Man X, but the entire Mega Man franchise, I'm a big fan of it. But Mega Man X quite possibly be my favorite video game of all time. But, you know, it was still fun trying to call it out on a lot of its, bull malarkey that I literally had not thought about until, like, literally just earlier this month. So, it was kind of fun producing this episode of Flaming Fiction today, but you know what? I can't roast it in this fashion. I just can't. I think I need the proper environment, and I think I need a proper look to do this. And yeah, today's episode of Flaming Fiction is going to look a little bit different than the others, so just bear with me. Alright, let's try something. Alright, there we go. That's more like it. Even though my mouth isn't moving right now, but oh well, whatever. Now, if there's one thing that infuriates me most about the whole Mega Man concept, is that for certain sequels, I don't get to keep the powers I've earned from the last game. Why? All the upgrades, all the powers, all the Mavericks I hunted. I just got to accept losing all of that progress? My only theory was Mega Man had to sell all of his powers and his upgrades just so we could afford the budget for the next game. But, from the original Mega Man series with Dr. Wily to Mega Man X with Sigma, then you gotta add Mega Man Legends to the mix, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other Mega Man games in the franchise that I'm missing out on. Look, asking the Mega Man franchise to stay in one lane with a consistent story is like asking his fan base to call him Rock. It's not impossible to explain, but you don't want to explain the whole lore. That's why I'm only sticking with the first Mega Man X game in general. Now, as much as I could roast Mega Man himself in this game, I think I want to save Zero for last, but let me go ahead and address Vile. This purple Boba Fett right here should be the real villain of the game. Nothing was explained about who Vile was, or what his backstory was, or any of that. In this opening first boss battle sequence, we don't fight Sigma, we fight Vile. And in the game, we knew we were going to end up fighting Vile later anyway, but no. He showed up first and had us thinking he was going to be the biggest problem. The biggest problem Vile got to face now is why he's looking like a purple Power Ranger with the Temu Zord. Now, let's move on to that first boss. Chill Penguin. Dude's IQ is lower than his level's temperature. He's almost a walking diss track waiting to happen. Stop. Exit back with a mission. He's dealing with the frozen edition. Blasting through some mountains in the snow. Now the bird brain trying to kill his flow. Is he gonna slide? You know it's true. He's so cold while X is blue. Up in the game with it, the bird better take no. Explains the he, so it won't even need to go. Freeze! We got a penguin on the scene. I don't mean Cobblepot trying to steal a lot of green. His fleet, they need to get cold when the felt blood smells. That's when he can beat Sigma or Wally and kicking their tail. They better surrender. They need to fail. It was the penguin, you heard the word. He's getting big cause I'm stopping that bird. Ice, ice, penguin. A chilly ice, ice, penguin. A chilly ice, ice, penguin. A chilly ice, ice, penguin. So chilly. Next, you got Spark Mandrill. This is what happens when you put Rafiki on steroids and then fuse him with Electro from Spider-Man. Now this might sound shocking, but I think I'm through with his monkey business. Next, Armored Armadillo. Out of every other character, this dude has the lamest name. Armored Armadillo? We got a guy named Spark, a guy named Launch, a guy named Boomer. That's like calling me a fleshy human or ex-blue robot. Now, it might sound shocking, but after you use the electric power on him, he goes from armadillo to a naked mole rat real quick. Next up, we got Launch Octopus, a maverick who stays as moist as Sigma stays bald. He owes Otto Octavius royalties so he can keep using those robotic tentacles. Now, I want to know how he got away with making this whole underwater hazard. Aquaman better be busy with Justice League business, because otherwise there is no excuse that he would allow this foolishness in his waters. Okay, Boomer, time for me to roast Boomer Kerwanger. Now, here's what happens when you turn Pinsir from Pokemon into a Power Ranger. One thing I'm more upset about is the design of his level. It just keeps going up higher and higher and higher until he's higher than everyone else. I'm just saying, after you finish his level, you'll end up taking his power to fight Sting Chameleon later. Boomer knows how to negotiate with him for some very special greens to stay as high as he does. And now that brings me to Sting Chameleon. It's Sting! First of all, what the heck is wrong with this man's level? How is he getting away with this? Everything in these woods is artificial! Even the trees, man! Even the woodpeckers! Captain Planet would be pissed! Sting made a whole fake forest just so we could hide in it. That's literally his whole power. Now, I can't roast Storm Eagle because he's just too pure. His theme song is too legendary. His battlefield is too unique. And plus, from a fan perspective, I think Mega Man X was the first game that I ever remember playing. And the one thing that I always remembered was the pink tornadoes. I love Storm Eagle too much to roast him. But now we gotta talk about Flame Mammoth. And for those of you that don't know, Flame Mammoth's level theme was actually the theme song for this whole series. Yeah. But dude's built like he comes with a built-in grill. He comes to the cookout providing fresh hamburgers. That trunk ain't fooling nobody. He's a vacuum cleaner with Human Torch trapped inside. Now the game ends after you beat Sigma. This bald-headed Ultron wannabe, built like Bruce Willis working for Skynet. He really out here trying to look more threatening than a 2004 Kane, but ain't nothing about this man original. He uses a green lightsaber, he stole Wolverine's claws, and his final form, he thought it was a good idea to put a head on a head. He turned Lord Beerus into a Megazord, but forgot to add the legs. He's just a floating torso with hands. But now, the one that deserves the roast more than anyone else. Proto Man. No, I meant Base. No, I meant Zero. There we go. Now, I can't speak for Base or Proto Man, but Zero has a reason to be the most roasted out of everyone, because look how we threw shade to X after that first Vile battle. Excuse me, Zero, are you gonna be the kind of guy to hold a 2-minute moment over our head for the entirety of the arc? Like, yeah, X, remember that time you were getting folded and I saved you last second? He was so judgmental calling X out, but I didn't see Zero face those 8 bosses. What was he doing? He was conveniently waiting for us at Sigma's fortress, pretending like he was being useful. Don't even get me started on how he allegedly died. I'm saying, he faked his death to get out of facing Sigma in general. So Zero's whole thing is what happens when you spend too much time aura farming, but only X is out there doing all the work to cash in on the crop. Noted, Vile wasn't even the main enemy of the game, but Zero didn't even get a chance to face Sigma, which was literally the whole idea of the mission to begin with. And Vile just conveniently goes straight belt to ass mode on Zero. Yeah, no thank you, that don't work for me, brother. It's a good thing that his name is Zero, because he's been doing zero work the whole time. Well folks, that concludes another episode of Flaming Fiction. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, if you like this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, helps me out a lot. And if you haven't already, I would also appreciate it if y'all were to subscribe as well. And yeah, until next time, make sure all of you remember, to be outrageously optimistic year round. Booyah, I'm out.